the Kev Roberts Hall of Fame.
Wherever you leadeth me, I will follow. Across the water blue, deep or shallow. If the way is dark, we'll make it through, me and you. It may sound a little strange, but it's my own thing, own thing, own thing. What may ever be your wants or needs, just call on me. My everything belongs to you, and you can have it free. Understand, I love you so, and I mean it sincerely. It may sound a little strange, but I love you dearly, dearly, dearly. Understand, I love you so, and I mean it sincerely. It may sound a little strange, but I love you dearly, dearly, dearly. Wherever you leadeth me, I will follow. Across the water blue, deep or shallow. Even if the way is dark, we'll make it through, me and you. It may sound a little strange, but it's my own thing, own thing, own thing.
Lead me into temptation, please, Curtis Mayfield. Wherever you leadeth me. The fantastic impressions. Kev Roberts here in the Hall of Fame. On Sunday, July 14th, is a very special day, the get-together of the top-of-the-world DJs, a famous Northern Soul all-nighter in the early 80s. The organiser of that event originally was Dave Thorley. We'll all be getting back together at Zanzibar, Newport Road, Stafford, Sunday, July 14th. And Dave Thorley will talk about those great times coming next.
Breaking our day, baby, and neglecting to phone, baby. You're taking out other girls, baby. I don't get it, but I think I'm catching on, baby. I think I'm catching on, baby. I tried to get in touch with you, 100 times I was phone, baby. A voice says you're not there, baby. I don't get it, but I think I'm catching on, baby. I'm catching on, baby. Neglecting to phone, well, I believe, baby, I think I'm catching on, baby. I think I'm catching on, baby. I know I'm catching on, yeah, ooh, baby. I think I'm catching on. I think I'm catching on.
Dave Thorley. Dave was one of the original, I say he was the original, not one of the originals, the original promoter of the early 80s when everybody said Northern Soul had died. Am I right, Dave?
That's what people were telling us, yeah.
Well, it was, wasn't it? I mean, were we toot and beep in it back then?
I think, Stafford came out of the heyday of the mid-70s. And a lot of people got to a certain age, started to drift away. As you know, you remember yourself, attendances were dropping. Also, you had the whole jazz funk thing taking a big chunk of the crowd away as well. And then suddenly overnight, a whole series of what were seen as big all-nighters disappeared. And people wandering around thinking, well, is this the end of Northern Soul? And really, it came out of a group of friends. And that's how when we think about it now, a group of friends getting together saying, well, we'd like to do something. And there was, people like Richard that I'd known for years, obviously from Wigan, and he'd been kind enough to ask me to do a few Wigans when he was away on holiday. There were people like Dave Withers, who was just starting to get some breaks at Wigan. Wigan closed. None of us knew what to do. Then there was a whole bunch that came from the south, from Yate, Ian Clark, Pete Weird, all of those people. And Gary Rushbrook, and we just thought, as a group of friends, it'd be nice to do something for ourselves. Play, it wasn't necessarily that commercial or smart an idea. Let's play what we want to play for ourselves, and we think there's enough other people interested.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I'm taking a look here at the Stafford story, which I have to say, being a part of the Goldmine team, I didn't have a hand in whatsoever. They wouldn't let me anywhere near it. Quite wise, I might add, Dave, yeah. Because the interesting thing about it is, I do liken it to Wigan in the style of music that it played, because I'm looking down here at some of the tracks that were played. You get an absolutely full-on phoretic Northern Soul record like Jackie Day's Naughty Boy, and then you'd end up with Glenda MacLeod, No Stranger to Love, which is ostensibly a disco song. Yeah,
it was. I mean, some of the themes that existed at Wigan, and also Yate, and although it's an all-nighter that isn't really sung its praises that much, it was another all-nighter that was very diverse in its music policy. And as we ended up with a mixture of DJs from both, that became the music policy at Stafford as well. I used to book DJs and say to them quite simply, I pay you to be an entertainer. You play what you want. As long as you keep people entertained, I'm not here to say to you, you've got to play this, you've got to play that. Keep people entertained. So you had, probably in the early days, myself and Richard playing a lot of the new release 12s, along with 60s things that we were still getting from John Anderson at the Soul Bowl. And then you had people like A.D. Pountain, who was playing also a very mixed bag. Probably Dave Withers and Ian Clark playing slightly more of primarily a 60s with some crossover stuff. But with, in any one night there, particularly in the first couple of years, you'd hear right across the board from brand new releases through to 60 things. So it wasn't that dissimilar, because you and I can remember being at Wigan and somebody playing Leroy Tears, and then the next record would be Thelma Houston, Don't Leave Me This Way.
Quite right. I always think back, and it's funny how people fashion a particular venue in 2002, and a lot of people say now that it was the birth of the Big Beat Ballad, because I don't think we'd really heard many Big Beat ballads, had we, apart from Jimmy Radcliffe, actually.
Yep, and that's true. And dear old Tim Ashibend blames me, completely squares this one on me, and I don't want to take all the blame for this or all the credit for this, but no, there were. That's when we started to look at things. I suppose we were getting older, so we didn't want to be thrashing around all night long. So a beat ballad would give you a breathing break in the middle. So maybe it was a cop-out because we're all getting old, but yeah, I suppose that's where the beat ballad thing started.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask, Dave, I actually might have been the first DJ to play Northern Soul at that venue, Top of the World, but I have to say it was a Monday night when the Wigan Casino thing was very, very popular, and we were doing, as I say, a total Wigan thing back in 1974. So I do know the venue very well, but why did you choose that venue? Because, again, Stafford is not particularly the greatest Northern Soul town, is it?
It was geography. Simple thing. I wanted to... I suppose in some ways I wanted to do what you're now doing at Stoke, is have a venue that was fairly central so that people from all over the country would come. A lot of people travel from all around the country to Wigan, but that was when the crowds were much bigger and it was a big trek. But if I could find a central point So we went along to Mecca and we said to them, look, what venues have you got? They said, here's 4 or 5. And we spent one day going around all of these venues in the Midlands, looking at different venues. And this one was the ideal shape when you walked into it, the number of floors it had, the different forms of secure access, so we could start the all-nighter early while they still had the commercial thing. Because in the early days, they were still going to 2 o'clock up in the main room. And we had a secure downstairs venue where we could open at 12 and operate until 2, and then move everybody through the rest of the building. It just worked. It worked logistically, and it worked geographically as well.
So would you say during your time as a promoter that it was a success?
Was it a success? How do you measure success? Financially, truthfully, I'll probably, if I actually ever bothered to do the sums, I probably at the end of it broke even. As something to do to entertain my friends and ultimately entertain a greater audience of people, it was a roaring success, absolute roaring success.
That's a good way of looking at things. Now, Sunday, July 14th is a special day because myself and Richard Serlin, due to demand, I might say, many people were coming up to us and saying, why don't you do a Stafford room and all this kind of thing. So what we're doing is bringing everybody back together, and you're very much an integral part of that, Dave. So we'll be there at that same building, I might add, top of the world, now called Zanzibar, Newport Road, Stafford, July 14th. And we've just nicked your ideas for 24 hours, quite frankly, Dave.
I don't care. It's just, for me, it'll be just fun to work with some of the old friends as DJs. See, hopefully, some old friends I haven't seen in the audience. And for me, that's what it's about. The all-nighter was always about the people. And it just so happened that we for almost by luck and maybe a little bit by devise, we ended up with playing good records as well. But it was about the people. It was about doing a venue for our friends and seeing happy, smiley faces, and that's what we ended up with.
Well, I certainly congratulate you, mate, because when I look back over the past 30 years, Northern Soul has come and gone. But certainly there would be no revival had it not been for people keeping it going. And I know I certainly thought by 1980, and I'd done enough Northern gigs in my life, to say it's just not going to come back. It's really not. Now, it did around the early 90s. People did want to come out again, but of course we do forget that those people who had kept it going were the Staffords of this world.
Yeah, true.
And without people keep saying, it's good, Northern's good, it's a wider variety, and I must say the music now is better than it's ever been, and partly thanks to the Staffords of this world who introduced other styles, because it was very samey, wasn't it, back in the 70s? It was very samey.
Well, I would quite happily disagree on this issue, and when challenged on this, I think what we now remember of it, and people now want that 200 same titles. Every big collector wants the same 200 titles. It's been distilled down. But if you actually then really looked across, and you mentioned it earlier on, it's just like Wigan. On a good night at Wigan, you could hear a really raw street funk record like The Crow. You could hear a good disco record like Thelma Houston. You could hear a classic Detroit record in the same evening. Sweet soul coming from Chicago. I think it was great, really diverse. I think, unfortunately, through the collector thing, it's been distilled down to just these 200 records. But in reality, it was very diverse. Even then, I think we took it a stage further and started to accept probably different. Others. We brought other styles into it. The crossover thing, the beat ballad, very contemporary studio-produced soul music, which was really just starting to happen in the 80s. And so we made it even more diverse, and probably opened the way for the garage soul that gets played now as well. But to me, and just like you, I'm a son of the mid-70s, and I think the mid-70s were some of the most creative stuff was played. I really loved it then. I just think that people's memories maybe grow a bit dim, but it was exciting then as well.
Mine included. Dave, we're having a beer Sunday, aren't we? All three?
think we are.
Kev Dodge, Butch, Guy Hennigan, Dave Thorley, certainly the leaders of the Top of the World movement. They'll be back again. I'll be sort of nipping in and out with one record if Butch and Kev allow me to. But more importantly, we will be there in the company of the guy who created it all, along with Keith Minshew, because we must mention Keith as well. Dave Thorley has been my guest. Thanks, Dave.
No, it's been great talking to you.
I'm no stranger to love. I've been hurt before. Now you're here in my life, and I don't hurt no more. I have fooled around, but I didn't hurt nobody. For all your hurt and pain, oh love, I'm very sorry. Let me give my heart to you. I'll tell you what to do. And if you're lonely tonight, I'll make you feel alright. Yeah. 'Cause I hear the bell in my heart. Yeah, I hear the bells in my heart. I'm no stranger to love. I don't hurt nobody. It's just you and me. Come on, 'cause it's my party. I'm no stranger to love. I don't hurt nobody. It's just you and me. Come on, 'cause it's my party. I ain't here with you, and you're here with me. I am so in love, you can surely see. Oh boy, you blow my mind and take up all my time. And everything I got, baby, please don't stop. Let me give my heart to you. I'll tell you what to do. And if you're lonely tonight, I'll make you feel alright. Yeah, 'cause I hear the bells in my heart. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear the bells in my heart. I hear the bells. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. 'Cause I hear the bells. 'Cause I hear the bells. Yeah, 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 yeah. I hear the bells in my heart. Yeah, 'cause I hear the bells in my heart. I'm no stranger to love. I've been hurt before. I'm no stranger to love, 'cause I've been hurt before. Now you're here in my life, and I don't hurt me.
The great diversity that made Top of the World, a great all-nighter in Stafford of all places back in the early 80s. My guest was Dave Thorley, and we'll be seeing Dave Sunday, July 14th for that great Top of the World revival. If you'd like to go, all you have to do is turn up on the day to Zanzibar, Newport Road in Stafford. All right, and you'll be in the company of Kev Dodge and Guy Hennigan and Dave Thorley and Butch and Colin Curtis and Andy Davis. 2 rooms, jazz, funk, disco, soulful garage and modern soul in room number 1, room number 2, totally northern, playing, as I say, the diverseness of such tracks from Jimmy and the Entertainers to Glenda MacLeod to Tommy Navarro. An interesting time, very productive time, I might say, for Northern Soul. Kev Roberts here in the Hall of Fame. More great stuff in just a moment as we go to hour 2, the Classic Soul Hour. My special guest, Howard Hewitt from Shalimar.